Hello everyone, welcome to Unit 1, Lesson 1, Day 4. We're going to be talking about the function going backwards again. So I'm going to give you a couple of examples of how to put an input into a function and get something out, and then also go the other direction, which is what we call going backwards, where I give you the output and we have to determine what the input is going to be. All right, so our goals for today, again, just understanding how to do inputs and outputs with functions and how to go forwards and backwards with functions. All right, so we're going to look at example 1 here. We've got a function 9x minus 3. And you'll notice the difference in the two problems here. So in this one, they're giving us an input because they're giving us the number inside of the parentheses here. This one over here, they're not giving us the number inside of the parentheses, they're giving us the number on the other side of the equal sign. So they're telling us they want the output to be 33. We have to find out what the input is going to be. So let's start with this one. We're going to take this negative 8. Since the input is negative 8, we're going to be plugging that in for the x. So I'm going to say f of negative 8 equals, and my rule is 9x minus 3, but instead of writing the x, I'm going to replace the x with the negative 8, right? So instead of 9x, I have 9 times negative 8, and then I still have that minus 3 on the end. Okay? And then we start evaluating, right? So 9 times negative 8 is negative 72, and we still have a minus 3. And then if I do negative 72 minus 3, well, that's going to be negative 75. Okay. And real quickly, I do want to show you, if you're trying to use your calculator to help you out with some of these calculations, something that might confuse you, get this calculator turned on here, is the difference between the negative button and the minus button. Okay, there is a difference between the two. So for instance, the calculation that we just did, if I wanted to do negative 72, I would hit the negative button, then 72, and then minus 3. Right, and that would give me the negative 75 that I found. A lot of students, what they'll do is they'll hit the minus button, something like this. Let me clear that screen off. So they'll hit the minus button and then try and do 72, and that would not give you the right answer because that is not the same thing. Okay, so you got to make sure that if you're putting a negative in front of a number, use the negative button. If you're doing subtraction in between two numbers, make sure you use the subtraction button. Something else students do is they'll do 72 and they'll hit the negative button instead of the minus button. So they'll do like 72, and then they have the negative with the 3 in there, and if they hit enter, you'll get an error because the calculator doesn't know what you're trying to do. All right, so make sure you distinguish between those two buttons. Okay, all right, now let's go over here. So this time they gave us the output, right? So when we write out our function, right, our function is f of x equals 9x minus 3. This f of x is going to get replaced with this 33, okay, because we want the output of the function to be 33. So I'm going to say 33 equals 9x minus 3. Okay, so the 33 didn't go in for the x. It replaced this entire side of the equation because that's what we want to get out. Now we got to treat this like an equation, and this is where those equation solving skills from yesterday are going to come in handy. To figure out what input gives us a 33, we just have to get x by itself. So I'm going to add 3 to both sides. Right? They'll cancel over here. And then I'm going to work left to right. So 33 plus 3 is 36. And then all we have left on this side is 9x. Okay, so now to continue getting x by itself, notice we still have a 9 over here on the right-hand side, and it's 9 times x. So to undo multiplication, I need to divide. So if I'm multiplying by 9, I will divide by 9, and whatever I do on one side, I have to do on the other. So the 9's cancel. X is now all by itself, and then 36 divided by 9 is 4. Okay, so this would be the input that gets me a 33 out, and I'm going to test it real quick. I want to make sure that it works. So I'm going to do 9 times 4 minus 3, right? Because our function was 9 times x. So I'm going to put the 4 in. 9 times 4 is 36. 36 minus 3 is 33. So it works. All right, let's do one more. So we've got a new function here, negative 7x minus 1. And the first one, they give me an input. And on the second one, they give me the output over here. All right, so I'm going to do the input first. So I want to figure out what f of 3 is. So we have f of 3 equals, I have negative 7 times x, but the x is going to get replaced with a 3, minus 1. All right, so when I multiply negative 7 times 3, I get a negative 21 minus 1. And then negative 21 minus 1 is negative 22. Okay, so that would tell me that when I put a 3 in, I get a negative 22 out. Okay. Now I'm going to come over here and do this one with the outputs. Remember, if we were writing our original function f of x equals negative 7x minus 1, this 20 is going to come over here and replace the entire f of x. It takes up the entire side of that equation. Okay, so we're going to have 20 equals negative 7x minus 1. Okay. And then we treat it like an equation. We're going to solve for x. So I'm going to add 1. The 1's cancel, so we get 21 equals negative 7x. And then we're going to divide both sides by negative 7. The negative 7's cancel, and we get x. And then 21 divided by negative 7 is a negative 3. All right, and I'll show you that one on the calculator. Okay, so I'm going to put 21 divided by negative 7. And notice I use the negative button, not the subtraction button, and hit enter, and we get our negative 3 there. Okay, so remember, a positive divided by a negative is going to give you a negative. And there is our input that we're looking for. All right, guys, that's it for today. Make sure you get those practice problems done. Good luck.